So the Drum Kingdom arc has officially come to an end, and it was my favorite arc in One Piece alongside Arlong Park. I thought it was absolutely incredible, like literally perfect. And now they're heading to Alabasta to try and save the Vivi's kingdom, and they have Chopper in tow. And it was really nice to see Chopper just at the beginning of this episode with the Straw Hats having a nice time, just being able to, have fun and not be judged and just be part of the group and the family, because we know Chopper's history. He's been through so much. He's been judged his whole life. He's been ostracized from his family. He's been attacked just because of the way he looks. And now he has people that accept him for who he is, and he gets to go on these grand adventures that he's always wanted to go on as a pirate. And I think it's beautiful, man. Again, just seeing Chopper happy makes me happy, really. There was a very touching scene as well where Nami found that Chopper's bag had been packed, which Chopper didn't do. And then, of course, we learned that Dr. Koriha packed the bag for him and put it in his sleigh before he departed, because she knew exactly what he was going to do. I'm sure she knows him like the back of her hand at this point. And, she treats him as her child. That's what she said. She said, it's my son, literally. So that's the sort of the relationship they have. And I thought it was really beautiful. Dr. Koreha has been such an essential part of the Drum Island arc and of Chopper's life, so to see Chopper depart and Dr. Koreha, the way it's made her feel after her being like the way she has been over the Drum Island arc, this like badass woman that shows no emotion except anger, basically. Seeing her actually show her real side when it comes to Chopper, I thought was great, was really nice. Of course, Dalton was a massive part of this arc as well, and we saw a flashback during a world summit where Wapol met with the king of Alabasta, of course, Vivi's dad. And Wapol at one point meets up with Vivi and just smacks her in the head because obviously Wapol had an argument with the king of Alabasta, and Wapol's just like a fucking horrible child, basically. Like he's the worst. So as soon as he saw Vivi, he smacked her. And Vivi, fair play to her, said sorry for bumping into you because she didn't want to cause any, problems between countries, start any sort of wars, because, she knows that if something like that happened at a world summit and she did ring the alarms and say this just happened, it could cause a war, it could cause devastation for both countries. So the fact at that young age she was mature enough to sort of try and move on from that situation, even though it obviously hurt her and she was crying, I think was really powerful. And Dalton saw that and it's inspired him in order to, try and rebuild the Drum Kingdom as well and do better for that country too, and care for it, which I thought was really nice. That's why Dalton recognized Vivi early on anyway, and Vivi recognized Wapol. So it was good to get that little bit of context. It adds a lot to the story, I feel like. And it adds a lot to Vivi as a character too. A mysterious figure also appeared a week ago before Luffy and the Straw Hats arrived at the Drum Island arc, and it was a guy called Ace, and he said to the citizens of Drum Island that tell Luffy if he appears that I'm going to be waiting in Alabasta for him in 10 days, and to let him know that his name is Ace and Luffy will know who he is. So I'm interested to know who that is. Is he related to Luffy in some way? Is he his friend? Is he a childhood? Like, does he know him from his childhood or something? I'm not too sure. He seems a bit older, so maybe he's related in some sort of way. But, it's just another intrigue into Alabasta, like what they're going to actually encounter when they get there, on top of the Baroque works and Crocodile and the Civil War and everything. Now we have this interesting figure that is waiting for Luffy there. So that could be interesting. And a really big revelation in this episode was the fact that Gold Roger is actually called Gold D. Roger. He's just known as Gold Roger now, but Dr. Koreha, obviously being a little bit older, she said that his name, he used to be called Gold D. Roger, like Monkey D. Luffy. So that's very interesting. Is Luffy named after him? Is it an inspiration thing, or are they actually related in some way? Is Gold D. Roger his like great grandfather or grandfather or dad or something? I don't know, but they maybe they're related in some way, and that's what makes Luffy so special. It could be something like that. That could be why these winds of fate affected Luffy in Logtown, if he is related to Gold D. Roger somehow. Maybe that's something to do with that. And also that during that World Summit that we saw the flashback, they showed an image of a guy called Dragon, and that looked like the guy who was wearing the hood in Logtown. So this all sort of connects in some sort of way. It's getting my brain going. Like, it's all related somehow. I know it. I just don't know how yet, but there's definitely some sort of connection there for sure. We also learned in this episode that Crocodile is deemed as a bit of a hero in Alabasta because of his public image. He actually defeats pirates whenever they arrive, and he has like a good public image. That's how I guess he's maintaining control of the people. He's looked at as a hero because of what he does, but behind the scenes we know he's doing a lot of corrupt dirty shit, starting this civil war that he's done. You know, he wants to take over Alabasta. He wants to create this country for himself or whatever he wants to do. But he's created this nice public image because he is one of the seven warlords that work with the government. That these pirates are deemed as heroes. But as we know, Crocodile has a very very bad agenda. So it's interesting to know that he has this. It makes sense if he has this massive influence over the people. Even the king of Alabasta, Viva, was saying why, you know, he's got this public image that is he's good. He defeats pirates. So it's probably going to be the same when Luffy arrives. Everyone's going to be against Luffy and the Straw Hats because Crocodile's the savior. So that could be a very interesting dynamic. Regardless, I'm so excited for Alabasta. Like I said, I've heard a lot of great things. A lot of people say it's one of their favorite arcs in the whole series. And if it's anything like the Drum Kingdom or Arlong Park or anything in One Piece so far, I cannot wait to see what's to come because I can only imagine it's going to be incredible. And also, side note, we met Mr. Two in this episode again. I think we've seen him before, but the dude's fucking weird, and he's gonna be he's gonna be chasing after Luffy and stuff now as well. But the dude seems like a bit of a piece of shit. Like basically everybody in the Baroque works, but he's an odd guy. He doesn't even have like a partner like everybody else. So I'm interested to see where that goes. But he's not a nice guy, basically. But yeah, anyway, I'm really excited for Alabasta, and let's do it.